everyone, and welcome to our online academy. Today we're going to be exploring all about sharks. I hope you're as excited as I am. We're going to be exploring about sharks and their special adaptations for eating. So we're going to be peeking inside the mouth of our sharks to see maybe how they have these special adaptations for eating, the kinds of food they eat, and how that might be different between the different species that we have out there. Did you know that there are over 400 different kinds of sharks? Like this one right here, sneaking up on us. So this is our live webcam. We're looking at our animals here at the aquarium. I'll go ahead and step off camera so that you can enjoy Big Guy. Big Guy is our sand tiger shark. Now, before we start thinking about the special features that an animal might have to survive these adaptations, I want us to make some observations. So we have different kinds of fish in here, including our sharks. So how are sharks maybe a little different or the same compared to our fish in here? Now, explorers, if you have questions during our program and you would like to contact our education team, you can always text us. We have our text line at the bottom. I'd also recommend, if you're seeing this and you have lots of questions, to use our email down here. And our education team are happy to help further your explorations and continue with those questions. So don't hesitate to email us at live@lbaop.org. Now, I'm not alone in our studio today. I have my friend James, who's going to be helping with all of our backgrounds today and our images. So you might hear me talking to James today. All right, explorers. So maybe you've been noticing, oh wow, here comes one of our reef sharks, right? There are different kinds of sharks in here. But let's think about this group of animals. What makes them maybe a little bit different than some of the other fish in here? Well, some of the fish in here are moving a little bit different. You can see our sharks are moving a lot with that tail fin. They're cruising a little faster. One of the main differences, though, has to do with something that we can't see. It has to do with something on the inside of their body. So they're both fish, but the skeleton that you would find on these little fish down here are similar to us. They have a skeleton made of bones. So we can kind of call them our bony fish. Our sharks, though, that we've been looking at, their entire skeleton is made of cartilage. Can you think of some things on your body that have cartilage in it? Yeah, you're right. It's your nose and your ears. You can bend your ears a little bit. Those are more of a soft building material for our bodies. So they have an entire skeleton made of that cartilage. Now, I wanted to mention that because as we start to explore about a shark's teeth inside their mouth, it is impacted by that cartilaginous skeleton. And that mainly is because if you feel your jaw right now, our jaw is made of bone, our teeth anchor in pretty well when we chew. But if we're thinking about our sharks here, if you have that light, flexible cartilage instead of bone, your teeth aren't going to anchor in as well. So as we explore our teeth, that might help explain why sharks have so many teeth and grow so many through their lifetime. Well, maybe we'll go ahead and introduce a couple of these different shark species for you. So we were looking at our reef sharks in here. They're the ones that are swimming around. We have our gray reef shark over here in the corner and our blacktip reef shark, and we met Big Guy, our sand tiger shark. Let's go ahead and start exploring a few different sharks, thinking about how they might survive in their ocean home and what they might eat, right? So let's go ahead and start with one of my favorites. They live in a habitat very similar to this. They live in a tropical place. They're called zebra sharks. Have you heard of a zebra shark? What do you think a zebra shark might look like? All right, James, let's go ahead and put that up and see. Is this what you were thinking? Well, I bet you, if you were thinking about an actual zebra with stripes, you were right when you were thinking about a baby zebra shark. Baby zebra sharks are adorable. They hatch from an egg and they have stripes. But as they grow, they turn into these polka dots, which is really fun. Now this shark, if we were a scientist exploring this shark and we wanted to know what it ate, we'd have to first look for its mouth. Notice this shark's mouth is located. In fact, we're going to probably ask that question for every shark that we introduce here because it's a good question. So, yeah, if you're noticing that this mouth is not in front, that it's underneath, you are correct. Why would a shark have a mouth all the way underneath its body? I wonder. Well, if you were thinking that its food is found underneath, you were right. Oh, here's a great close-up of our shark. So here's that mouth. Oh, there's a smile for us. So the mouth, the shark is breathing right now. It's passing water into its mouth and over its gills. So we're going to take a peek at my special camera called a document camera and look at these teeth and maybe make some predictions of what this shark eats. So we know that its mouth faces down and that its food is at the bottom in the sand. Let's see what tools it has in its mouth to maybe find and eat that prey. All right, so I'm going to go over to my document camera. Now this shark, we don't really have a good size comparison looking at the picture, but this shark can grow anywhere between 9 and 12 feet long. I'm going to go ahead and turn our studio lights on, and I'll turn this down so it's not so bright. There we go. So just compared to my hand here, you can see that this 9, 10-foot animal has a pretty small mouth compared to my hand. So the food that it's eating is actually not really big. So if we zoom in here, we're going to look to see the shape of these teeth. I want you to make some observations. There we go. What shapes do you notice? Oh, so even though they're small, they're a little bit rounded at the ends, but they're still sharp. That's really interesting. So when we think about why a shark might have pointy or maybe flatter teeth, I want us to think about our own mouths. Maybe I'll focus a little bit better there. So as we think about our mouths, I want you to think about what our flatter teeth are used for compared to our pointier teeth. If you were thinking, I chew with my back teeth and they're a little flatter. You're right. So if you have flatter teeth in your mouth, you have maybe an animal with a hard shell that you're trying to crunch. If you have a little bit more of a point, you might try to grab a slippier animal like a squid or a fish. Well, I'll tell you that our friend here, the zebra shark, likes a little bit of both. This shark will actually find animals in the sand like snails, crabs, shrimp are a really good favorite food. If it can grab a fish, it would love to eat a fish. They're not exactly very fast animals, and because the mouth is underneath, it's mainly going to find animals hiding in the sand that are not moving very quickly. So here's another great video that I can step off the screen here so that you can look. So again, that mouth is at the bottom, has this really long, flat tail. There are other clues on some of our sharks besides just the mouth that tell us how this animal might live in its home. Now the body shape of our zebra shark, again, is a little bit more what we call depressed. It's a little flattened out this way. So it can actually rest at the bottom, and then it can also get up and move around to smell the water. Had those little things hanging from its nose called nares that can detect food in the water. And it's going to be finding those little pieces of food like crabs and clams, those hard-shelled animals at the bottom. But it can still grab some small fish because it has that little bit of a point. So this is one of those animals. Now, I have to mention here, too, we were looking at an older animal earlier. This is a slightly younger zebra shark. Do you notice how you can kind of see those stripes? Yeah, this is a shark that was hatched here at the aquarium, which is pretty exciting. All right, let's move on to another shark to explore. And while we get ready to explore this shark, let's see, why don't we explore, we talked about big guy, our sand tiger shark. Let's do that. We had a great question from one of our explorers. Do shark teeth vary by geographic region of the world? And if so, why? Now, I had mentioned earlier that there are over 400 different types of sharks, which is really incredible. And they are found in the warm tropical waters we were exploring. They're found in the deep, cold waters of our ocean. They're found in the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean. They're found all over the world. And it's not so much by region, but by food type. So the shape that we're looking at for our animals, the teeth that we're looking at are really going to be influenced by the type of food that they eat. So this shark here, the sand tiger shark, has these long pointy teeth. It lives in the Pacific Ocean, but it might have a shark that's very similar in the Atlantic Ocean that eats the same food, so they have almost exactly the same teeth, if that makes sense. So it's more to do about the type of food they eat than where they're located. But of course, that food has to live at a certain place too. So it's all in relation. So here's some great footage of Big Eye, that sand tiger shark. Now earlier I had mentioned long pointy teeth. Do you remember what this animal might eat with those long pointy teeth? Well, Big Eye here is also a large shark. Now most sharks, believe it or not, average around 3.5 feet. Big Eye is much bigger than that. So more than 60% of all sharks in the ocean are about, well, if you take your hands and you make a nice V above you, and you can stretch it nice and wide, that's about 3.5 feet. Most sharks you can hold right over your head like this, and you are bigger than most sharks. But there are some sharks that do get a little bit larger. Big Eye is about 3 of those. So it's about 9 feet long. That's a pretty good sized shark. But its mouth is a little bit different than the zebra shark. Let's take a closer look. I do have a model. Another great question that had come in was, do we use real shark jaws or models? Most of the jaws that we're looking at today are going to be models. So they're museum grade replicas that are not from sharks, but made to be exactly like our shark. So as we go over to our document cam in just a moment here, take a look at these teeth. Oh, you might actually, with this really good close-up, notice that there are rows and rows of these teeth. And in fact, there are so many rows of teeth in the sand tiger shark's mouth that he can't close them. This is this permanent smile right here. And the ones at the end fall out. So they get dull over time. And one of the reasons they fall out is, again, because they have that cartilaginous jaw, not bone like us. And so they don't anchor very well. So instead of having it lodged in tight, it's pretty loose. And if they were to grab their prey and the prey were to wiggle around at all, that tooth might fall out. Luckily, though, there are teeth waiting to replace, like a little conveyor belt, always growing. And we'll take a look when we get a chance at what that might look like. Here is that nair that we talked about. So here's the nose of the shark, and it even has this little barbel right here, and that allows the shark to smell their food. So what could be slippery out there that this shark might want to grab? Were you thinking fish? Yep, that's the favorite food for our shark here. So we'll take a peek. Oh, we're gonna zoom out a little bit. We're way too close because this is a much bigger jaw. There we go. So in comparison, these sharks are about the same size, but they eat very different things. So size does not always mean bigger food. It just means their lifestyle is a little bit different. Big Eye's mouth was not underneath. It was in front to help it catch those fast-swimming fish. So if we take a peek, we can see that these teeth, now I'm going to zoom in now that you've seen how big the jaw is, are long and pointed. Not only that, you can see those rows and rows of teeth there. So these long teeth are better equipped for eating in one bite and then swallowing that fish prey. There are no chewing teeth, and there are no tearing teeth, which we'll take a look at next. So whatever Big Eye bites, he basically swallows the whole thing. And so, believe it or not, even though this is a big shark with an awesome smile, it's not going to eat something huge. It's just going to eat something that he can fit as he swallows. So here are these long pointed teeth. And there are many sharks out there that have teeth very similar to Big Guy because they eat fish. All right, let's take a peek at another shark here. Now I mentioned we had our shark that could eat some small hard-shelled items. We have our fish-eating shark. What about sharks that eat bigger animals? And what kind of teeth do they need? Can you think of another shark that maybe eats bigger prey? I know there's a famous one out there. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the great white shark. So the great white shark is known for having a really wonderful smile. Look at that smile. Now, the great white shark is able to eat bigger prey. They can eat bigger fish like tuna. Tuna can get thousands of pounds. They can eat other sharks. They can eat marine mammals. So they can eat things like smaller dolphins if they get a chance. A lot of times, though, they were scavenging. So if that animal has already passed away, they can take bites of those animals. But they can also catch, again, some of these larger animals like seals and sea lions. So they don't have those long, pointy teeth. Now, I want you to think about when you're trying to cut into something and you're using your utensils, what do you use to take a piece of your food? Yeah, your knife, right? Well, let's go ahead and take a peek of, I'll give you an example here. A couple different examples of some not only triangle but serrated teeth. So here's the one on the left is the great white shark jaw or tooth. That's just one tooth. They can have hundreds and hundreds of teeth at a time. And then this is the bull shark. So slightly different, smaller teeth. But I want you to look along the edges of the tooth. Do you notice anything special or different? Yeah, if you notice that there's some small ridges, those are very similar to a knife. So we call that a serrated edge. And that serrated edge allows this shark to take bites of something, unlike our sand tiger shark. So we had a question from one of our explorers is which species of shark has the most amount of teeth and why does it need more than others? So this is the bull shark. The bull shark, they have been known to have many, many, many rows of teeth. Now, I'm sure that there are some scientists who think that maybe the bull shark, maybe some of the other sharks out there, we'll say the bull shark has probably the closest to the most amount of teeth in its mouth at a time. And a lot of that has to do with how fast they wear through their teeth. So the bull shark, because it's taking bites of something big, can wear through its teeth a little faster. So that replacement often means that it has quite a few teeth in its mouth. There was another question about sharks. The bull shark or the silky shark has, because of the serrated edge, quite sharp teeth. If you're thinking about the end, though, as being the sharpest, then you'd probably look at one of those fish-eating sharks like the sand tiger shark as we were taking a peek. They have a really sharp end to their tooth. So it depends on if you're thinking about the side of the tooth or the very top of their tooth. And I think we'll probably watch some footage of some of these different sharks eating at the end here. Another question that was that had come through is what shark has the biggest teeth? So this shark here, the white shark, has the biggest tooth of our known sharks right now. But if we think about its ancient relative, the megalodon, this is a prehistoric shark. I'll zoom out here. I want to give you a size comparison. My camera had to refocus because it's so much bigger. So here's the ancient shark on the right. This is the megalodon. And then the great white shark is a current shark that we have in our ocean, just to show you that size. And they estimate that the megalodon shark was probably around 50 feet long, which is really incredible. Now, right now in our waters, although the tooth is the biggest shark out there is really our whale shark, which is one of my favorite animals in the ocean. And I do have an example of the whale shark jaw, But I want us to first take a peek, since you can see inside this shark's mouth. What do you notice about its teeth? It's smiling. This is a great smile. Yeah, you can't really see those teeth, right? You're not seeing these big triangle-shaped teeth. You're really looking at, it looks like just gums. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the mouth of the whale shark. This is a very big shark here, and you can't quite see the teeth on here. They're very small, and they're lined right along the edge here. And that's because the whale shark actually isn't using its teeth anymore for eating. Those teeth are kind of left over from maybe a time before, when it used to, back in its history of, you know, on our planet, of using its teeth. But right now, this animal here is actually a filter feeder. So it opens its mouth up really wide and can suck in its prey. What could it eat? Well, just like the animal it's named for, so it's called a whale shark. It is a shark, but just like some of the big whales out there, it loves to eat plankton. It eats these tiny little plants and animals. It opens up its mouth, and it moves through the water, and it collects that in its mouth. It goes over its gills, which it breathes from. Those gills have special extensions from them called gill rakers that help them filter it out from the water, which I think is really interesting. So here's an example, thank you, James, of plankton. It's very small. So it can be as small as something that needs a microscope to look at, or that those drifting animals can be as big as small baby fish or small shrimp in the water, which is really interesting. So whale sharks are the biggest fish out there in the ocean. They have been recorded at 65 feet long. Most are between that 30 and 50-foot range, but that's still an incredible animal. All right, I'm just going to double check my questions here to make sure from our explorers at home if I've answered all of them. Do sharks have baby teeth that they lose as adults? Oh, that's a great question. So there are sharks, there are sharks, of course, that start their life off very small. Sharks can have babies that start life as from eggs, or they can have live birth. But they're kind of all miniatures of adult. They're just a smaller version. So their teeth may be a little bit different, though, because they eat different things at different times in their life. So when they first start off life, thank you, James, we have an egg case here. There's a tiny little baby shark in there. So this growing shark may hatch out of this egg with teeth that are slightly different. A great white shark, for example, is going to be eating things closer to fish before it starts to really get the serrated sides to its teeth. Juvenile or young sharks have slightly different teeth as they grow. Not quite baby teeth like ours, but they of course are growing and losing their teeth throughout their lifetime. Scientists have averaged sharks grow and lose about 30,000 teeth in their lifetime, which I think is really interesting. Oh, there's the zebra shark over there. Now, before we go, we've been talking all about sharks. We've been talking about sharks as animals that have cartilage for their skeletons, but they have a really close cousin. You can see one all the way over here, hanging out towards the back of the exhibit, and those are rays. Rays also have a skeleton that's made of cartilage, and they have a really interesting mouth. So I wanted to share a little bit about these cousins to sharks. Here's our Reticulate Ray. She's beautiful. She has that really interesting pattern called the reticulate pattern. But if you watch and notice, the mouth is not in front, right? The mouth is hiding all the way underneath. So similar to our zebra shark, they're finding their food in the sand. They're finding underneath. Oh my, look at this adorable face. So here's the mouth of this ray, and then here are those gills that they breathe from. So this animal has even these extra flaps, these lobes on its face that allow it to help gather things from the bottom. So if you have opportunity to see maybe one of our rays here at the aquarium or watch our webcam, you might actually see them kind of moving those around as they explore. So we're going to look inside their mouth. And now that we've been learning about all the different types of shapes, I want you to make a prediction of what you think this ray is going to eat now that we know that it has a mouth underneath and we've been talking about shapes. Okay, so we're going to go. I probably need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Were you expecting this mouth? I was not when I first learned about a ray mouth. So we're looking at the top and bottom part of the jaw, and each one of these panels is actually a tooth. And at the very end, this one here falls off, and just like the sharks, it's replaced by new teeth that are pushed from the back forward, which is pretty incredible. And these anchor into the gum line here, but these are all individual teeth. So what do you think this animal eats now that we've been talking about some of the difference between a pointed tooth, a flat tooth, and a mix? Well, if you were thinking, this shark has absolutely flat teeth, and those teeth, just like my flat teeth, are used for chewing, you're correct. These teeth are experts, or these rays are experts at grinding their food using very, very flat teeth. So they can crunch into things like those hard snail shells, and they can crunch into clams. Clams have very hard shells. They love eating clams here at the aquarium. And they can find those at the bottom because their mouth is all the way at the bottom, which makes it really convenient to find those little snacks hiding in the sand. All right, my friends. So we've looked at quite a few animals here. We were talking about our sharks and our rays. There are many, many, many different types of sharks out there in our oceans. If you have questions about some of the sharks that we've talked about, we've only really talked about a few examples from those categories. But as you can imagine, there are some animals that have kind of a mix between some of those features and shapes of teeth that we've been talking about, because their prey, the animals that they eat, are also a little bit different. So I hope you've enjoyed joining us today. Thank you so much for exploring. And of course, if you have any more questions, feel free to email us. Oh, look, looks like both our zebra shark and our sea turtle are giving us a nice little fin and flipper goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us today, explorers. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.